Welcome, everybody, to the Do the Work podcast. Tonight, we're going to be covering Monday Night Raw. So, for those of you who didn't get to see it, didn't get to see all of it, or maybe you're just one of them fans that you like wrestling, but let's be honest, it's not as interesting as it used to be, so you can just kind of keep up with things that's going on just by looking at the internet or watching videos. So, right off the gate, let me tell you right now that nothing too spectacular happened, but things did happen. This is the first Monday night after Survivor Series, after Raw only won one match during the whole pay-per-view. So you can imagine that things were a little heated. So opening up Raw, all the superstars are already down at the ring. Everyone's gathered around. So the Raw locker room is waiting on its leader, which Seth Rollins is named the locker room leader. So he goes around the ring, talks about how Raw got beat. The fans are booing him, as you guys know. Seth is kind of going through that transition where fans are kind of booing him. I'm not a big fan of Seth here lately either. You can kind of see the writing on the wall that they are trying to push him towards being a heel, which, to be honest with you, I'm okay with that because I think heel Seth is better than babyface Seth, and that's not all his fault. I think it's the writing that has kind of put him in that position where he's not as good as a babyface as he would be as a heel. Now, Rollins starts it off by saying, how everybody had dropped the ball, how everybody got pinned, how Raw only won one match, how Raw is now the C show, seeing how NXT would be the A show now with 4 victories, and SmackDown looking like the B show with 2. Now, Rollins would go on to call out Randy Orton, saying, "You were the weak link on my team." Knowing that Orton got pinned, he was the second one eliminated on Team Raw after Ricochet, I do believe. And Orton's response was to simply just turn around, walk out. And I want to point out that Randy Orton kind of doesn't really care. Orton kind of does what he wants. He's a veteran in the industry. And he kind of gives this gesture as in, well, you can do the math. So Orton walks out. Seth would go on then to call out Charlotte Flair for getting pinned and for being and saying she was the team captain. And she also would turn around and walk out. He would then do the same thing to Rey Mysterio and Authors of Pain. And Seth kept saying that now is the time to say something. I'm trying to rally us all back together. I'm trying to rally us all back to, look, we are the best. You need to step up your game. Seth said that he did drop the ball, but it was obvious that Seth was pointing the finger at everybody else. Now, everybody at this point in time decide that it's only fitting that they walk away and go back to the locker room, except for one man, and that one man is Kevin Owens. Rollins would then go on to say, "Look, everybody, it's Mr. NXT," because those of you who don't know, or those of you remember and recall from Saturday, Owens was the 4th member in War Games on Tommaso Ciampa's team on Saturday, and he was questioned on Sunday by Seth Rollins, so now Seth Rollins calls him Mr. NXT. Seth Rollins will then go on to say that, "Owens, you are lazy, you are fat, you don't do nothing," and Rollins is pretty much saying Owens didn't do anything for Raw. Owens is a worthless piece of crap. And then Owens, in natural fashion, hits the stunner, walks out of the ring, and Monday Night Raw continues. So then it comes back from commercial break, and the very first match of the night would be Bobby Lashley versus Titus O'Neil. Now, everybody knows the storyline is going on with Bobby Lashley, Rusev, and Lana. I'm with the majority of the fans. I think you guys would agree. This storyline is dumb. I don't agree with this storyline. Some of it has to do with the fact that, I don't like it when WWE brings personal relationships into things. I don't like it when, you kind of take 2 people that's happily married. I don't really know if Rusev and Lana's having problems. I'm not seeing where they had problems. I'm not seeing where they've actually divorced. So all this has been going on. It's too much to really get into. And to top it all off, Lana's not that great of an actor. Lana's kind of ruined this storyline to me. with the way that she talks, the way that she talks. And what happened to her Russian accent, her Bulgarian accent? You mean tell me she gets with Bobby Lashley and all of a sudden she can speak perfectly good English? I don't know. You guys tell me. Anyway, so then before the match starts, it shows a video of Rusev getting into the hotel and a guy who's saying, I want your autograph. My boy loves you. My son's a big fan of you. Finally, Rusev says, yes, okay, I'll sign the autograph. It's for his kid. Only to serve him with a restraining order. If you remember last week, Lana said that, hey, I'm going to get restraining order against Rusev. So he gets hit with a restraining order. The match begins. Bobby Lashley's dominating Titus O'Neil. The match really didn't get started, and Rusev jumps Bobby Lashley. And when I say he jumps Bobby Lashley, I mean he gives him a whipping of a lifetime. He gets all the way up to the ramp, beats the crap out of him. By this time, the police show up. They arrest Rusev, put handcuffs on him, and Rusev charges Bobby Lashley, knocks him off the stage through a platform, and then knocks a metal rail on down onto Bobby Lashley, and goes on to scream, I'm back. Also, by the way, what happened to Rusev's mustache? He had this big Instagram thing, everybody was talking about it, where he had a nice trim, he had a mustache, he had nice hair, and all of a sudden he's got a goatee back and he's looking rough. I imagine it's to make it look like he's going through a divorce and he's going through a hard time. Get the mustache back. You gotta get the mustache back. I'm rocking the mustache. You inspired me, Rusev, to get a mustache. Come on, man, grow it back. So we continue on to AOP, the Authors of Pain. They have a match against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. It's no surprise that they would go on to dominate this match. This is a squash match. They are beginning to push Authors of Pain, and I would assume they're going to push them to the point where they will face the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I don't have a problem with that. I liked the Authors of Pain when they was in there before. I just hope that the writers decide to book them right and do the right thing with them. So, after that match, it's Akira Tozawa, the 205 Live Cruiserweight, who is drafted to the Raw, and Andrade in the next match. Tozawa did put on a decent show. Tozawa did put up a match, but let's be real. Anytime Andrade goes against somebody of Tozawa's caliber, you know who's going to win this match. The only thing I will say is they did let Andrade win this match clean. That doesn't happen very often, and I wish they would let him win more matches clean. Andrade is a good performer, and I hope they continue to show what he can do, and I hope that he does get a championship opportunity in the near future. Next on the map is Aleister Black has a little segment, a little promo. He is referring back to last week when Buddy Murphy knocked on his door, saying, Buddy Murphy, since you knocked on my door, that he will be collecting what he is owed. As you know, Aleister Black, he did the same thing on SmackDown. He was wanting somebody to pick a fight with him by knocking on his door. Buddy Murphy, being the cocky, arrogant, funny guy that he is, last week knocked on the door. Aleister Black came running out. After the match, Buddy Murphy went to go do it again, and Aleister Black met him face to face. So, backstage interview before, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, I apologize. Matt Hardy versus Buddy Murphy. Now, Matt Hardy hasn't been on TV for quite some time. He's done a lot of house shows, and he's got himself in terrific shape, if you guys do not know. So, Matt Hardy comes out, he's facing Buddy Murphy. You pretty much know who's going to win this match. Matt Hardy is now what you would call the ring veteran, to where he is going to help guys get over. But he still is looking good doing it. Buddy Murphy wins the match. And then, after the match, he does a brief promo trying to insult Aleister Black, saying, you know what, I picked the fight. And Aleister Black's music's hit. And by the way, I really enjoy Aleister Black's music. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big rock fan by any means, but that hard, that guitar, and just the way his entrance is, I really, really, really like his entrance, and I really, really like Aleister Black as a wrestler. Now, Aleister Black comes down. Buddy Murphy attacks him, doesn't prevail. Aleister Black whoops him pretty quickly, and Buddy Murphy falls out of the ring and does what the typical heel does, and that is act like he's going to get back in the ring, and then backs and tails it back to the beginning of the ramp and just looks at him, and then we go to the commercial break. We come back from commercial break. They have an interview with Charlotte Flair about Asuka spitting the green mist and betraying Team Raw on Survivor Series. Charlotte then begins to tell the history of Asuka, how Asuka can't get over the fact that Charlotte beat her at WrestleMania, can't get over the fact that she beat Asuka for the title when she was on SmackDown, and that is the driving force, and that Asuka will not be able to beat her tonight. Fast forward, AJ Styles versus Humberto Carrillo. As you know, that has been a rivalry that has been going on for quite some time, for the past couple of weeks, and it is for the United States title. Not very often do you get a title match. AJ Styles is one of the few champions that usually will put a title on the line during Raw or during SmackDown or whatever show he's on. And as Humberto's on his way to the ring, wouldn't you be surprised, the OC come in, jump Humberto, and take him out on the stairs. Therefore, Ricochet decides he needs to come down because, as you know, Ricochet and Humberto have been kind of buddies here these last couple of weeks. And AJ goes on to cut a little promo saying, oh, well, Humberto can't continue. What you going to do about Ricochet? And he runs his mouth talking about that. Ricochet gets a microphone, says, you know, that's not right. How great AJ Styles is, how great the OC is for hunting him. And he goes on to say, how about I challenge you for the United States title? AJ, being the great heel that he is and being the great wrestler he is, humbly goes, no. At that point, Randy Orton's music hits. Randy Orton comes down to the stage, and he goes on to tell AJ Styles that he will challenge for the United States title. AJ Styles once again goes, no, I've already beat you at WrestleMania. And goes on to say, I've already beat Ricochet, and I've already beat you, Randy Orton. I have nothing more to prove against you guys. And in that case, you can see where he's absolutely right. Then a surprise hits, and Drew McIntyre, someone who doesn't get a title opportunity very often, someone, in my opinion, absolutely deserves to have a title shot. A lot of people have been pushing for that. He has the talent. He has the build. He got injured when they was pushing him really heavy. And since he's back from an injury, he really hasn't done too much. Now, he comes out and says, you know what, AJ? You have not faced me. I will challenge you for that United States title. At which point, AJ once again says no. And then another surprise hits. Rey Mysterio music hits. Rey Mysterio comes down to the ring, and Rey Mysterio insists that AJ Styles puts on a match for the United States title against Rey Mysterio, in which, once again, AJ says no. So, there's 4 guys wanting a shot at this title. AJ saying no. Ricochet comes up with an idea of, hey, why don't we have a Fatal 4-Way match in which whoever wins this Fatal 4-Way match will face you for the United States title tonight. AJ doesn't want to do it. He looks to his allies, Gallows and Anderson. Gallows goes, well, I don't see a problem with this. AJ gets mad and goes, well, I was talking to Carl Anderson. And Anderson goes, actually, this is a good idea. And I would assume so because, let's face it, a Fatal 4-Way, they're thinking, them guys are going to beat the crap out of each other and then have to have another match. AJ Styles is a shoo-in to win. So in which case, the OC head back to the locker room. The match takes place after the commercial break. And as the match continues on, the OC come down to watch the match. And you know at some point in time they're going to get involved. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre worked well together, playing the heel roles in this match. They did a really good job of keeping Rey Mysterio on the outside of the ring. They did not want Rey Mysterio getting too involved. And Rey Mysterio didn't really get too involved in the match until the end, in which it was Ricochet. It really was more like a triple threat match. Ricochet was beginning to get the upper hand. And then Drew McIntyre goes for the Claymore kick, in which Randy Orton hits him with an RKO, goes for the pin, and the OC, Gallows, and Anderson pulls Randy Orton out of the ring and beats him down to a pulp. And then which Rey Mysterio and Ricochet left in the ring, and Rey Mysterio hits Ricochet with a roll-up pin and gets the 1-2-3. Right after that match is over, so Rey Mysterio wins. Now it's time for the title match. AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio. Now, I gotta admit, this match was a little disappointing at the first half of the match. Gallows and Anderson is still out there, and you know they're going to play a factor into things. And at the beginning of the match, AJ Styles really controls the pace of the match. AJ Styles controls Rey Mysterio. And one thing you got to give credit to Rey Mysterio is he plays that little guy role so well. And you know he's going to get his burst, but you don't know if he's going to win. Here recently, as you guys know, Rey Mysterio gets him burst, but he doesn't really win anything. And of course, as the match goes on, the OC get involved, and the referee decides at this point in time, they are gone. And I was so excited to see that, but in the back of your mind, you have to go with that, well, just because they threw him out of the match doesn't mean anything. We see that all the time. Well, a heel uses his buddies and always win matches, and then the buddies get thrown out of the match, and you get that false hope that they're going to lose, and then they always somehow retain the title. You see it a lot when The Miz is a heel, which, by the way, WWE, you got to make Miz a heel again. He does his best work when he's a heel, and I really would enjoy seeing him as a heel again. But back to this match, back to Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles gets the upper hand on Rey Mysterio, and then Randy Orton, well, let me back myself up. Rey Mysterio hits the 619, which bumps AJ Styles out. He runs into the ref, and the referees are fragile like a vase, and the referee is knocked unconscious, in which AJ Styles takes advantage of this, but then Randy Orton comes back out to get retaliation for the attack that had happened, and jumps AJ Styles, but AJ Styles hits him with the phenomenal forearm, but then which Rey Mysterio hits him with the 619 again, and then he backs into Randy Orton, and Randy Orton hits him with an RKO out of nowhere, in which Rey Mysterio is now your new United States champion. The referee came alive just in time, and Rey Mysterio's son came out and celebrated with Rey Mysterio. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm happy to see Rey Mysterio get a title belt. I hope this run as United States champion is better than his last run as United States champion. His last one wasn't all that memorable, and I'm really hoping that they use Rey Mysterio in the right way. And that's what's really important now. Now, after that match, an interview with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens calls out Seth Rollins for what he had said and done earlier the night. Owens goes on to say, you know what, Seth? I know who I am, but you don't know who you are, but you're just a whiny little brat and a crybaby, and then goes on to challenge him for a match. Then the match, the only female superstar match of the night, Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. And when this match begins, Kairi Singh already makes herself a factor in the match. And as the match goes on, she continues to make herself and Charlotte Flair finally says enough. She gets Asuka to the outside, and then she chases Kairi Singh through the audience. And then it goes to commercial break. When they come back, Kairi Singh is nowhere to be found. The match is continued. Charlotte Flair takes control of the match, and just like that, Kairi Singh arises from the crowd and distracts Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair comes out of the ring and decides at this point in time she's going to take care of business. Kairi Singh tries to run, gets caught by Charlotte and her long arms. And also, Jerry the King Lawyer referred to Ric Flair saying he was looking down on Charlotte as if Ric Flair had died. I assure you that Ric Flair is still alive. Ric Flair is still styling and profiling. He's still a limousine riding and kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. He is still alive, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that goes on. Charlotte gets back in the ring, gets hit with the green mist, and Asuka wins the match. this is the perfect type of heel thing. And I appreciate that they allowed Asuka to win. Charlotte's kind of like that competitor where you really don't want to see her lose when she's a good guy, but you also don't really want to see her win, at least for me. At least from my standpoint, I really, really, really like seeing her lose certain matches, but there's other matches where I'm like, you know what, I want to see her win. But that's just me. So Asuka wins this match, and you can tell that what's going to happen is, and they've been having tag team matches with Charlotte Flair and Natalya. I assume that alliance is going to be rebuilt, and it's going to be Charlotte and Natalya versus the Kabuki Warriors, which is Asuka and Kairi Singh, for the women's tag team titles. I see that being a possibility. I would say that's probably what will end up happening. And I would say that you will see Charlotte Flair and Natalya be champions because one, Natalya is a veteran in the ring. There's great respect in the WWE with her and her lineage and her family. And Charlotte Flair and the Flairs. And that would give Charlotte Flair every single title that a woman can hold. And so she'd be like a triple crown champion in the women's division. So keep that in mind. The next match on the card is Eric Rowan, or now known as just Rowan, and he goes against a jobber. And of course, he's still carrying that cage around. I have a very funny feeling that a snake is in that cage. He's getting the typical big guy heel push. I liked it better when he was on SmackDown. The man has good microphone skills. I'm really excited that WWE is deciding to use him because then for a while I figured that he was going to be the one to get cut and Luke Harper was going to be the one to get the push. Well, Luke Harper has ran into trouble, has expressed many times that he wants to be released. Now, Eric Rowan, on the other hand, he's dealt with some injuries. He's came back, and to my surprise and to a lot of surprises, he was able to hold his own on the microphone. Heck, he had great matches against Roman Reigns and was able to hold his own there. They did a good job at making him look strong. I want them to continue to make him look strong. He had a great match against Seth Rollins, in which the only way he got pinned was by the forklift, which was a shout out back to when The Rock and Mankind had their match, and there was a couple other matches where they've used the forklift to pin people before. Unlike some people, I don't have a problem when they do them shout outs to them old matches or to the old endings. I know some fans do, and everybody has the right to their opinion. We all have some things that we like. You know, for instance, and I guess I'm going to take a little quick shout back out to Lana and Rusev. This is kind of like an attitude segment, but it's an attitude segment that I don't like. An attitude era segment that I don't like. But so I don't mind it when they do stuff like that, but I really hope that Eric Rowan gets the push that he deserves. Obviously, you know, they're going to push him to be this great heel. He's going to win some matches. He'll probably get beat at WrestleMania, if not before then, depending on how Vince wants to use him and how much Vince likes him. That being said, he goes on, he wins his match easily. Still no idea what's in the cage. But then after that, we have the Iconics and R-Truth promoting the sale that's going on for buy one, get one free at the WWE shop with the Christmas theme, the Christmas hats and everything going on. I don't know about you guys, but I really wish they would use the Iconics in a better way. I know they are annoying, but they're really good at doing what they are meant to do. They're meant to be heels, and they're really annoying at being heels. I think they might be getting pushed to be like a face or a comedy face act. And I really hope they don't go that route. I really like it. I really like Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. I think they deserve better. They are a legitimate tag team. They work really well together. I know they had the tag team titles at one time. They dropped the titles because Peyton Royce was getting ready to get married and she was going to go on her honeymoon and be gone for a bit. But they never got the rematch clause. So I'm really hoping that they work their way back up to get another title match. And I hope they win that match, to be quite honest and quite frank. But after that, the commercial break for the WWE shop, they then cut it to the OC and AJ Styles backstage. AJ Styles is almost in tears. He's disappointed. He's frustrated. He's lost. They ask him, what are your thoughts after this devastating loss to Rey Mysterio and losing your title? And there was a good minute to 2 minutes of him just getting ready to say something, stopping. Getting ready to say something, stopping. And then the only thing that he ends up saying is Randy Orton. So it looks like Orton's going to be a face, which they've been kind of teeter-tottering back and forth with Orton since he's joined Raw. If he's going to be good, is he going to be bad? Is he going to be a heel? Is he going to be a face? And it looks like they chose to make him a face, which, like I said, Randy Orton kind of does what Randy Orton wants to do because of his veteran status within the industry. And going against AJ Styles, this will be a good thing. I look for Randy Orton to be allies with Ricochet and Humberto to kind of balance out against the OC as this feud continues. I also think that and this is an important note, an important rumor that I've read, that WWE may be getting away from the automatic rematch clause. Keep an eye on that as champions lose a title, where they automatically get a rematch, or will they be put back to the bottom and work their way up. It looks like with this rivalry, with Orton and AJ Styles, it looks like they are going to, I don't know if AJ's going to get his rematch. If he does, he's probably not going to win back the title. And I'm going to say that Rey Mysterio will find a new opponent, whoever that may be. After that, you think they go into another interview with Lana about the attack on Bobby Lashley from Rusev. And she goes on to play the victim like she always does. She actually does a decent job at this role tonight. Not too overdramatic, just the right touch. And so they play the recap of what happened. Then we get into the match of the main event of the night, which is Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. They still playing with Seth's heel turn. Owens is obviously a babyface at this point in time. The match goes on. It's a decent match. There's not really no big moments. It's just a really decent match. It's high pace. And then all of a sudden, the Authors of Pain come out and separate Rollins and Owens. One looks at Owens, the other's looking at Seth, and then they both turn their attention to Owens. Owens begins to attack. Match ends in a disqualification, of course, in which they demolish Kevin Owens, leave Kevin Owens laying on the mat. Seth Rollins stands up and says, well, come on then. The AOP just turn around, walk away, also calmly. And then which Seth Rollins, confused, looks at Kevin Owens trying to get up and does the most heelish thing that you could do, and he curb stomps Kevin Owens' face into the mat. Then he does it one more time, twice as nice. That double tap, Zombieland reference right there, with the double tap. So it looks like Seth Rollins is turning heel. Before the Raw goes off air, you hear Seth Rollins goes, we can do this together. We can either do this the hard way or the easy way. So it makes it pretty much sound like either you do it my way or the highway. Seth Rollins is definitely on the road for a heel turn, which I'm excited for. I said at the beginning of the show that I am excited for this. I'm ready for this. Seth Rollins does his best work as a heel. If he's working with the Authors of Pain, I see this being a very good trio. I see this being a very effective trio. I almost would compare it if they two work together as the Undisputed Era from NXT. I look for each of them to gain a title. As long as Brock Lesnar is champion, I don't see Seth challenging Brock Lesnar again for the title. I think we've all had enough of Seth versus Brock for this year and maybe for our lifetime, for that matter. But I do see him maybe challenging Rey Mysterio for the United States title, and Author of the Pain's getting the title away from the Viking Raiders. So, at the end of the night, if I was going to put this on a 5-star radius, this show was maybe a 2.5 or a 3. Really nothing too exciting happened. There really wasn't a lot of matches. There's a lot of interference going on. There's a lot of interviews going on. And so this is probably, like I said, a 2.5, 3.5 star show for me. And by the way, one thing I do think Raw was doing nicely is I do like having two commentators. I'm not much into having 3 commentators. I think when you have 3 commentators, there's too many voices going on. Too many things is being said. And with 2, it evens out and it does a nice job. I don't really care for having a heel commentator and a face commentator, unless you would bring JR back, but we all know JR is working for AEW, which, by the way, my podcast will cover AEW. I am not strictly to WWE. Also, I have a Facebook page. It's the same thing. It's called Do the Work Sports. It's on Facebook. On there, we talk a little bit more about NFL and college football. So if you're into that stuff, by all means, check me out. Hit that follow button. And on this video, if you guys like this, hit that like button, subscribe, follow me. That way you get these live action videos. I will come to you with reviews at the end of each show. I will tell you on Wednesdays, though, it will be either AEW or NXT. I will swap in and out on reviews of that night, but I will get to the next show the next day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the video. Put some comments down there. What do you guys think? What do you guys see coming? I want to hear your guys' opinions. If there's something you want me to cover, maybe a rumor that's going on that you want to talk about, by all means, put it in the comment. When I see it, I will make sure that I will do the best I can to cover and look up what you want me to look up. If there's another topic, maybe you want me to review maybe an old show or an old match, by all means, put it in the comments. Let me hear from you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and check me out on Facebook. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys at a later time.